Hey, welcome back to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online. If you'd like to know the price, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate if you purchase your next watch from us at JazzTime.com. Today we'll be taking a look at two now discontinued chronographs from Audemars Piguet's Royal Oak line. The 26331ST.00.1220ST.03. I'll just be calling it the 26331ST, or basically the 41mm Royal Oak chronograph on the left here, versus the 26315ST.00.1256ST.01, or in other words, the 38mm. Basically, to just sum it up, what's different between these two is just the size, not even the thickness, just the overall stance and the width of these watches on the wrist, as well as their dial colors. That's it, because they both have the same movement, same water resistance, 50 meters, 2385 movement, I believe. Let me take a look at my notes here. Yes, the 2385 movement. But basically, these two are essentially the same aside from the size. But taking a little bit of a closer look here, the two side by side, the 26331ST on the left does have a 41mm case size according to Audemars Piguet, although on the wrist, just to illustrate, it does wear a little bit bigger than 41mm, closer to 43 if we're talking about, sort of the Rolex standard 40mm Daytona size. This does definitely wear larger. So if you're coming from, say, the Rolex ecosystem and going into the Audemars Piguet sort of line here with the Royal Oak chronographs, you can tell that it does wear a bit larger. My 7-inch wrist, this is a little bit too big for me, but that's just me. Now, however, if I compare it with what a 38mm case size would look, it would actually be pretty comparable, in fact, to a Rolex Daytona in terms of the case size on the wrist. As you can see, it does sort of encompass that entire width of my wrist. It does still have a good sense of wrist presence when it comes to the width and the overall stance on the wrist. But the 41mm obviously does wear larger. Again, closer to what I would say a 43mm case size when it comes to the stance on the wrist, and does wear larger than a Rolex Daytona. However, if you're basically just stepping into Audemars Piguet just separately, not really coming from, say, Rolex, for example, and you're just looking for a really good chronograph, both of these are excellent options. Again, if you have a larger wrist, though, the 41mm on the right side here does have a better fit for anyone whose wrist size is larger than 7 inches in circumference. So if you have 7.5, maybe 8 inches, or more of a flat wrist rather than a round wrist like mine, 7 inches, you can definitely wear the 41mm much more easily. However, if you have a smaller wrist, say maybe you have a round wrist like mine, or 6.5, or even down to 6, or even a 5.5-inch wrist, you can wear the 38mm Royal Oak chronograph on the right, and it will fit you much more nicely. You do have that better sense of framing of the bracelet, the integrated bracelet on both the 12 and 6 o'clock sides. And finally, the last difference here between these two dials, at least, or these two models specifically, is the dial color. Now, the 26331ST on my left here, this one has been superseded by a 50th anniversary edition, the 26240ST, with the tone-on-tone dial. So you don't have the sort of Panda look. It's all white on white, or in Audemars Piguet's situation, silver on silver. Whereas on the right here, the 26315ST, the 38mm, has not actually been necessarily superseded in many ways. Actually, they just don't make this dial color anymore. They have other tone-on-tone dials, so you don't have that Panda look either on the current offering, at least as of this moment in 2022. But the actual difference between these two, other than obviously the case size, if you look at the dials themselves, the sub-dials on these chronographs are a little bit different, but they do still have that Panda look. The 41mm on my left has sort of what I call a true Panda look, black and white, no other colors. That's all it is, nice and easy. On the right here, we do have, let me just zoom in here if I can. We do have a set of blue subdials and blue inner bezel, sort of like on the outer track there. So you do have that cohesive color scheme there, and a little bit harder to see in my dark room with light box here. But if you take this outside, you have, or if you just look at it with your own eyes, because looking at my monitoring, it doesn't have the full color representation of the actual sheer depths of the blue that you see on this dial, but it's still incredibly beautiful and quite a nice blue in its own right there. All right, so comparing these two again, there's not much to say about these. Granted, the bracelets do have a bit of a difference there when it comes to the case size. The bracelets referenced in their reference numbers, let me pull them up here once more, checking my notes. The 1220ST on the right here, that refers to the 41mm case size, but also the 41mm case size and the steel bracelet. So the 1220ST bracelet here does fit this watch basically perfectly. And if you were to take the 1256ST bracelet off of the 38mm case, it just simply will not fit onto the 41mm case, and vice versa. You can't put the 1220ST bracelet onto in place of the 1256ST bracelet. That simply won't work either. So basically these bracelets, while they are, well, basically the same in the overall presentation, you still have the double deployment AP clasp there, and they do have the high polish between the links, the double intermediate links with the large main links going basically from lug to lug there all the way around the wrist. They will have a different size, and that's basically to correspond with the different sizes for the cases themselves, and that's just how it is. Again, these two actually discontinued this year in 2022. Again, the 41mm has been superseded by one with the 50th anniversary Royal Oak chronograph, but also an updated movement that does have a longer power reserve and faster, well, not really faster, but more beats per second, a higher hertz rating, 28,800 vibrations per hour, whereas these watches right here have the 21,600 vibrations per hour. Very small difference, but if you hold them next to each other, you can see it, but in isolation, very hard to tell otherwise. But basically, that's all there is to say about these two watches. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Which one's for you? Would you rather get the 38mm on the right with the blue subdials, or would you rather have the larger 41mm on the left with the full black subdials? What do you think? Which one would fit you better, and which one would fit your style better? Maybe you'd sort of fall into that middle category. Maybe you do have a 7 1/4 inch wrist and you just can wear either of these. Well, we do have that option here for you at Jazz Time. Well, you can't walk into an Audemars Piguet boutique and actually expect to pick up either of these. You can get them here still at Jazz Time. Just hit the links in the description below to see either or both of these watches. They're both for sale here, so take a look there. Don't forget to leave a like, be sure to subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you can be notified when we go live with another video like this one. And as always, if you'd like to purchase either or even both of these watches, head to jazztime.com. Links in the description below where you can get it for the lowest possible price anywhere online. Thanks for watching, take care, we'll see you in the next one.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in Jazz Time, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.